In this lesson, we'll talk about how to configure the SSIS service. When you open up Management Studio and you connect to the SSIS service, you're actually connecting to the package store. The package store is configured in the msdts srvr.ini.xml file. When you modify this file, it will require a restart of the msdts server 100 service. Inside of the package store also does a number of other things. It will enumerate the packages, determine which packages are available to it, whether they be in the MSDB database or on the file system. It also determines which packages are currently running underneath it and caches from the data providers as well. So now that you know a little bit about the SSIS service, let's try to configure it now. In this lesson, you'll need to go ahead and modify the msdts srvr.ini file and create a new file node. This file node will be called File System New, and will be tested in the Management Studio section. So let's try this now. You'll see when you connect to Integration Services and click Connect that presently, when I drill into this, under Stored Packages, I have a number of instances here. I have a file system instance, an MSDB database, and these two are the main ones that you're probably seeing yourself. I have two other ones as well that I've copied and pasted from. So let's open up our file system here. And in this directory right here, the SQL Server directory, underneath Program Files, TINO, DTS, and bin, you'll look for the msdts srvr.ini.xml file. And as you can see, it's right here. Let's go ahead and edit that file inside of Notepad or the XML edit of your choice. To add this, there's a few things about this file you'll see. The first thing is this right here, this one node right here. Now this is specifying to the service if a problem occurs. Would you like, if the service stops, do you want me to stop any packages that I'm running also? Additionally, we can copy and paste this down. This is the SQL Server node tree, and where you see File System, we can create a new SQL Server folder right here. We can also create a File System folder as well. So for this lesson, we're going to create one called File System New. So I copy and pasted the file system, and I'll change this to File System New for the second one, and I'll point that to C Projects Packages. And that's all there is to it. So as you can see, I'm copying and pasting the file system folder, but if I wanted a SQL Server folder, I can point that one to it as well. Notice that for the default SQL Server one, which is this guy right here, the default one uses the name of dot. Now that dot can cause a problem if you have a named instance of SQL Server or if you're in a virtual environment. The dot is referring to the local instance of SQL Server. Now that's not always the case. You may want to point this to a remote instance or a named instance. So change that dot after the installation to whatever the name of your instance is. After doing that, save the file. Okay. And we want to stop and start the SSIS service. And you can do that inside of the configuration repository. So you would look for the SQL Server Configuration Manager. Once you set the Vista requirements, here we go. Now that the configuration manager is open, let's stop and start the service by right-clicking on a service and hitting Restart. I did this in the SQL Server Services tree. This will take a few minutes to stop and start, or a few seconds to stop and start. With the service now started, let's open up Management Studio. Right-click on a service or on a stored folder and select Refresh. You'll notice now the File System New is now available. If the folder does not exist, you'll get an error that looks like this. Otherwise, if the folder did exist, in my case it was a Projects Packages folder, then I would see all the packages in that folder automatically. And that's how you configure the SSIS service. The SSIS service is responsible for enumerating through all the packages so you have an abstract way of getting to your packages whether those packages are stored on the MSDB database or in the file system. You can configure the service by stopping and starting a service first, after modifying the file msdts_srvr.ini.xml. And again, after you modify that file, you will have to restart the service. To connect a service, you'll need ports open like DCOM and some access to the server as well through the Windows authentication. Now that you know about the SIS service, let's talk about now how to secure your packages.